Hello, everyone. It's Kim from K&RP here in southeastern Manitoba. Today, I would like to do some really interesting doodles. I had seen somebody else doing this. I am so bad. I really need to start writing down who I saw doing what so I can give them credit. If this is yours, I'm sorry. I watch so many reels and videos, and some things stick and some things don't, and I'm sorry. Anyway, this is not an original Kim thing. I am going to do it my way because the way they did it, they used markers. I'm going to use watercolors because I think it's going to be an interesting bit of a twist. So I have some watercolors. I just used the Staedtler watercolors that I picked up at Staples. So I'm going to put the stool on the desk with a white piece of paper and hope that the camera does not go bonkers with the white paper on it. And we're going to position it here so you guys can see pretty much what I'm doing. So they used a white piece of paper when they did theirs, and then they took a string. They took a string and they scribbled all over the thing with string, just like this, like this. Just took the string and made loops, and so that it was kind of sectioned off. This is almost like doing one of those neurographic art pieces. So I'm going to do it like this. It's kind of off the page, but it's going to give you the idea of how it was done. So then what they did was in each section, they went with a marker and they outlined the section and then doodled in it. So what I would like to try is doing it with the watercolor. You saw that I had my little palette with the watercolor all mixed, ready to rock. And I've got a glass of water. I'm going to take a nice thin little brush. No, that's a flat. I guess I could use a flat, but basically right now I just want to outline the shapes. And then I want to come back with the watercolor and see if I can get some of those wonderful effects that Jean does. So I am just going to wet the brush. I'm going to start with the yellow. And you know what? I don't know if I've got enough pigment in these or not. We're going to find out. So I'm just going to kind of roughly trace along where the outline of the page and the string are. And those are the kind of shapes that this person used for doing the black and white doodle. And it was gorgeous. Like, I love black and white doodle. I love checkerboard black and white. But I thought this would give a whole different idea for using watercolors to doodle. So I'm going to do 3 in the yellow. Not sure. I'm not really concerned about where I'm putting them. I just don't want them to be touching each other, right? So let's do this one. So it's kind of like a tic-tac-toe. So again, like I say, I'm just kind of roughly following the outline of the string. I know you guys can't really see that. I apologize. I wonder if I can't get my camera any closer. Maybe I can hold this up. You can see outline the yellow. Granted, I could use watercolor pencil. I could use Crayola markers, the water-based ones, so that I could get a sharper outline. That's not what I'm aiming for. I just want to get this stuff outlined. And then, whoa, let's clean that brush off. I'm glad that was off camera because that was not kosher. Not great, Kim. Not great. Okay, so this brush is still a little thicker than I want. It's okay because when I come back and I start, Kim's got wobble hand today. When I come back and I moved it. Don't move it. When I come back and start filling it in with the watercolor, I want to do kind of like a little shading, blending kind of happening. because I'm just getting this prepared for when I am going to doodle this piece. I feel really weird having my paints not right beside me. It's okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. Doing this big one. Can you guys see where the string is? Don't touch the string. I don't care if I touch the string. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Oh. And it's okay if it's a little wobbly because of watercolor, and I'm thinking I can kind of fix it after. Those of you who do watercolor going, oh, what are you doing? I hear you. I hear you because I don't know what I'm doing. Because normally we all know watercolor is not one of my strong suits, but it's okay because it's play. And you guys all know that play is so important in everybody's lives. So now I'm going to do a green, red and green together. There's also blue, yellow, and orange going to be on here, so I'm not as concerned. I just don't want to put them beside each other. You know, Kim and her red and green. I'm going to do this one. And again, I am just winging it. So the idea is, it's like a neurographic one, but instead of using the marker that you would use, you use the string, and it's kind of reverse. Does that make sense? That's kind of reverse. Okay, I don't want it to touch. It's going to have to touch the red. It's okay. Breathe, Kim. You can do this. I didn't even count how many spots I got for the colors that I want to use. And I'm not going right to the edge of the page because I want the, it's almost, I'm using this as a mask. I'm using the string as a mask, if that makes sense. I will come back and put one more green on there after I use the blue and the orange. Just so that I know that this blue, I really watered that down. Oh, goodness. You know, it's okay because, whoa, really, really, Kim. That's almost like a waste of paint, I would say, because I watered it down so much. I guess maybe if I would have dried my brush off between times, it would have helped as well, but I didn't. We know. I want to make sure I'm beside the reds, if I can, so that I don't, when I do the third bit with green, I can do it away from the red. So it's 1, 2 blue. You guys know I want to turn the paper. This is difficult for me not turning the paper because if I turn the paper, the strings are going to move, right? Okay. I think I want to do either this one or this one. I think I'm going to do this one. Let's do that one. Try not to overthink this. I don't want it to be overthought because when you overthink things, then that puts a little bit of pressure and the stress on you. I just want this to be fun and loose. So as I say, I'm just putting the paint down, and then I'm going to come back and play with it and fill some more in after. Okay, so now I'm going to do some orange. Ron just came to tell me he's heading over to the neighbors. He was trying to sneak in here so that you guys didn't know, but I don't know if you heard his footprints on the stairs or not. So I thought I would just inform you. Ron's going to the neighbors. Okay, so now I'm going to do this one in orange, and that way definitely there will not be green touching that red. This is difficult. This is, oh, into nothing. Fade, the song Fade to Black. Well, I'm fading into absolute nothing. It's okay, because, touching the string. Stop touching the string. This feels weird. I narrate when I do things. You guys have noticed that. Jean has noticed that. She's called me out on it. So doing things on a recording aren't too hard for me. Okay, so I've got one orange. I'm going to do this one in orange. The big ones are going to be in orange. So that means I'm going to possibly have to add just a little bit more color to the palette so that I actually have, maybe this would have been better to do with the markers, the watercolor markers. They're not watercolor, they're just regular markers, but they're water-based, and you have seen me use them as watercolors in the past. Keep touching the string. It's okay. I just need to get the hint of where things are so that when I come back to do the fill-ins, and we all know that, it's going to be what it's going to be. I have a vision. If this works, it works. If it doesn't work, you know what? Guys just know. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. I have my 3 red. I'm going to need another green. My greens are going to have to touch. So it's either this one or this one that are going to have to be green. So let's do this one in orange. Like I say, I'm trying to do it so that my red and green aren't touching, because it's me. It's me, guys. It's me. So we decided I needed another green. And it's going to have to be this one or this one. I'm thinking this one, because if I do this one, it's really close to the red. See, here's my dilemma, guys. Kim and her opinions. The green is lovely. Comes in nice and thick and dark. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3 left. And 2 are beside each other. Okay, how about if I do this one in an orange, this one in a yellow, and this one in blue. There we go. Got it figured out. So this is orange. And once I come back with the shading, with luck, it's going to be different, because remember, I'm going to do this. I'm going to shade it in with the watercolors. So I'll be using a bigger brush. And then once it's dry, I will be doodling on it. But I want to show you this part first, because I thought that this putting the string down was a very interesting concept. Different way to use yarn or whatever if you've got lots and you don't know what to do with it. So this one we said was going to be blue. Again, it's kitty corner to that blue, but that's just fine. And that one is going to be yellow. I am rinsing my brush off between so that I'm trying not to contaminate colors. The yellow is lovely, nice and happy and cheerful. All right, so I think I've got all the sections with paint. Now I can move the string. So now it just looks like a bunch of crazy outlines. Like, what? Right? We got what? Okay, so let's start with the yellows because it's the lightest color. I am going to take a flat brush. It's reasonably soft. I don't know that it's actually a watercolor brush or not. It's going to be what it's going to be. And since this is copy paper, I don't want to get the paper too wet. Right? Let's smooth the water up here. The reason I'm starting with the yellow is because it's the lightest color and I'm going to work my way to the darker colors. So first I'm going to go in and I am just going to wet inside my yellow outline. Right? And yeah, paper's going to buckle. It's copy paper, guys. It's what it is. So now I'm going to dip the brush in the yellow paint. And I am going to go around the outsides. And I'm just going to let it fill in on its own naturally. Do its wet thing. Of course, I probably could have used watercolor paper. I do have watercolor paper. We'll see what happens with that. Again, I can come back and add a little bit more. I'm not overly concerned at this point. I just need the color there because when I start doodling on it, I just want it to be fun. Just want it to be fun. See, I had some paint on already from there. So when I dipped my brush in the water, it just got it all nice and wet for me. And again, I'm just coming around the edge. Just a stripe down the center. You do the same with this. Get it wet. My brush is wet enough that I don't have to dip it in the water. I'm thinking I don't have to dip it in the water because it's pretty darn wet. I have never been taught watercolor. I am self-taught, as is 99.9% of what I do. I haven't taken any courses. Totally a self-taught artist. All right. So now I'm going to get that off my brush. And now I can turn the paper. Okay, so you guys can see it's going to dry. I don't know what kind of shadow or shading it's going to have. We're going to figure that out. So now again, I'm going to wet my brush a little bit. Let's start with this one. Just going to get some water down the center of it. Dip it in the orange paint. And we'll do the outline. And the center. And it's going to be what it's going to be. Again, my brush is really, really wet. So we're going to work from the outside, around the edge. So that's more the way I was hoping that this was going to go. You can see where it's much more watercolor-like with the shading. But as I say, I am self-taught, so those of you who do watercolors, please look away. Please, just look away. You know, because I can hear you going, no, you should have done it this way, Kim. Well, this is a recording, so I'm not going to hear you guys saying that, but I appreciate it. So I give this one. Again, I probably should have added a little bit more pigment to this orange. I didn't. I just kind of wet what was in the little palette. It's going to be what it's going to be. Can't wait to see this dry. And of course, it's going to have to dry before we doodle on it. So I think what I'm going to do is, oh dear, I colored outside the line. No. It's okay. That was a kimono. As I say, it's going to have to dry. So I'm not going to probably, look, I dipped it in the paint. Look how nice and rich that looks. Can you see? No, I'm not on screen. Move that up. All right. All right. Okay, so we've got the orange. Now I'm going to do the red. Oh, let's spatter water. I wish this would bleed a little bit more. Let's. Ooh, that's really rich red. Really rich, really rich. Going around the edges. And since I'm going to be doodling it, you know I'm going to be coming over it with a black marker or gel pen, or I'm definitely going to doodle it in black. So I can neaten up the edges that little bit should they need to be neatened, which they obviously do. I'm not even dipping it into the paint at this point because that red is still really, really rich and blush. Which leads me to believe that what could be happening is the green and the red are still going to be really punchy, and the other colors, I'm going to get a red and green focus on this. Yep. Okay, dipped that in the paint. Look how dark that is. Way lots of pigment in that. I love rich colors. Of course, it's not going to dry quite that extent. Let's add some more to this one. Because this one is going to be pink, I'm thinking of turning pink. But you know, it doesn't have to be solid because when you come back and doodle on it, you just need the color behind. Just need the color behind. Now, I think I am going to do the green first. Look how much green and red I've got together there. I obviously wasn't thinking. It's okay. You know, it's going to be what it's going to be. This is just a doodle page. Chances are I'm going to be hacking it up for leaves and flowers and backgrounds when it comes right down to it. This is just a doodle play because, A, we can, because those of you who do watercolor may be inspired to try something like this your way and the way that it was meant to be done. Because, as I say, I am not a watercolor artist. I'm just here to give you guys hints and tips and ideas on how to do your stuff with maybe a bit of a twist. Try something that you hadn't thought of before, like the string technique. I have to. I'm one of those. I gotta turn the page. Gotta turn the page. All right. So, of course, this is not going to be dry. I'm not going to wait for it to dry. I will doodle it off camera. Actually, I'm probably going to end up taking this with me on my journey. It's something interesting to do. So once it's done, I will definitely post it and meet your creativity. And on my Instagram, just the idea, guys. I'm just giving you ideas for this. Just ideas. And we'll do the blue. And of course, once it's dry, I may decide to go back in and add another layer of color to it to deepen it. Especially the orange. The orange is so pale. So pale. The yellow seems to be coming out nicely. I can do this one from here. Not comfortable doing it from here, but I'm doing it from here. And I'm trying to get right to that edge that I originally did. So you can still see the hard outline of what I did. I'm not sure that when you do watercolor that you've got those hard edges. So please do it your way. Please. Maybe I should have done it while the string was on. Just do the whole thing and then come back and do a second coat after. Yes, no? Not sure. It's all good. It's going to be what it's going to be. It is, it is. And as I say, just doodling, just playing, just trying to give you guys other ideas. I saw something that I thought was really interesting. And of course, I had to put my take on it, which was using paint instead of just black marker so that it was a black and white doodle. But you can see how sharp that would look in black and white. They didn't color these solid black. They did checkerboards. But the checkerboards, you know what, maybe we'll quickly do one after and I will show you what I mean. How the original creator did this. Again, I am not the creator of this. I am just showing what I saw. By no means is this my original idea. And if the original artist sees this and wants to give a shout out, I will gladly include your name and links in the description box. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to go back over that orange and then I'm going to set this aside to dry. And I will show you, since I've got the watercolors out, I will show you another very interesting little thing that I saw. Just deepening the orange. It's still very wet, so it doesn't want to play as nice. It's okay. It's okay. And of course, being copy paper, I got some bleed happening. It adds. It adds. And we all know that it's going to be hacked up for flowers and stuff. Unless I really, really like the background, then I will scan it in and use it as background for something. Or lots of somethings. So what I'm thinking is I am going to be doodling this, each section in different Zentangly kind of things. I'm going to turn that into a Zentangle, but I can leave the white back, or I could possibly do it with black circles, black checkerboard, black wavy lines, just to fill it in, give it a little bit of different substance. Okay, so there's some of that dry paint that was sitting in the palette that didn't get quite mixed. Paint crumbs. Yay, I love paint crumbs. That is really wet. It's okay. It's okay. Watercolor needs the wet. But as I say, because it is copy paper, all right. So you kind of see where the paths of the string went. That green definitely has some pretty strong outlines, which is okay. So I'm going to move this aside to dry. And I hope that inspired you guys to do yourself a doodle like this. Lay down some string and all the holes, fill it in somehow, right? Okay, I'm putting this over here to dry. I am going to take another white piece of paper. I thought I had more than one with me. You know, sometimes I shouldn't think because. Okay, we'll just take it. I was going to show you the black and white with the marker because that seriously was stunning. I love checkerboards. I've done entire pages where I've done circles and filled them all in with different checkerboard kind of things, just the black and white square stuff. Okay, take the string and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to lay it down. Now, I hope that's goobers all over my screen and not on my camera. Yep, it's on the camera, isn't it? Oh dear. I'm sorry. I splattered my camera. I'll have to clean that soon. Very, very soon. So again, I am laying the string down in various shapes. And I'm going to the edge because I want definite pieces, like areas. So now I'm going to take a black Sharpie. Let's hope I find one that actually has decent ink in it. You know what? I want that to overlap because I want those to be all different sections. Where else do I need that to happen? I think we're good. Okay, so we're just going to go inside the lines, the Sharpie. Again, this is not my idea. I just loved the idea and thought how relaxing this could be. As a doodle. Oh no, go back, go back. Oh, see, mucked it up, Kim. You mucked the string up. Don't touch the string, Kim. The yes men are in my way. Touch the string again. Again, this is just a different way for the neurological stuff. I'm just trying so hard not to move the string. If you know what I mean. So I know that it looks just kind of really weird. Oh, it moved. Need more than two hands today. And of course, you would do it your way, right? Please do it your way. And again, whoever inspired me, if you see this, please please put a comment, and because I would definitely like to give you credit for that. Yeah, that's ugly. I will show you how to fix that. Oh, this mark and these strange marks. Because I use the mark for edging, right? We're going to have interesting, the lines are that, and the fact that sometimes my hands don't want to work the way we want them to. Okay, I think I've got all those things filled in. Oh, look how fun that is. Look how fun that is. All right, so this one has a couple of corners that are kind of rude looking, like they're not great. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come and I'm going to outline this a little bit thicker. So yeah, you could do this in pencil, whatever your medium is. Okay, that kind of cleaned it up a bit, I'm thinking. So now I'm just going to draw lines across this section. I don't care if they're equal. I'm not using a ruler. I'm not going to use a ruler. And then I'm going to follow that line like that. See how it's got a nice grid pattern? Now let's do it checkerboard style. So we're just going to color in every other one. And you'll see how sharp this looks. So you can see how every section that you do is going to have like a different grid kind of system, which is cool. Follow the different lines. Don't follow. We'll start here. Because if you start at the other end, you might be a little confused and not get them where you want them to be. Ask me how I know. I have done so many, like I say, I do the whole page in this kind of marks. I have sheets of it someplace. Okay, so we've got one done. Does that make sense? I hope so. Let's do this one because it's got the big swoop to it. So we're just going to start by making sure the outside edge is how we want it. Yeah, it's got that bubble there. It's going to have to stay. Try and feathering it out a little bit. Which is okay. Okay, so I think I like this line here. So, but it follows that one. It's too close to that one. So I don't want to do quite that one. Let's use this line as the line that we're going to follow. So it's kind of angled like this. Right? Because we're following this one. Or you could just do it any which way you want. You just want them to be a little bit different than the ones around it. You don't have to follow any of the lines if you don't want to. And how about if we follow... Now if we follow that line, no. I think I want to follow... How about this line? It's going to be different than the one below. That's going to go, okay, that one misses yet. This one got a little bit there. Now the reason you're doing it like this is because you want the number of lines to be the same so that you don't get confused when you're doing the black and white, like the fill-in. Okay, now let's look for this one. It's pretty full, so I'm just going to make that one black, and I am going to start in the middle like that, which is fine. These are a little thin for this marker, which is okay. Just have to be a little bit more careful. So I'm going to do this one, and I am going to consider this video complete. You guys have an idea of how it's done. As I say, this is the way the original artist created theirs, the line and then black and white checkers. And it was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Of course, I could use a finer marker, and that way I would get more lines, more detail. If that makes sense. Because, you know, the thinner the tip, that goes there. So this is going to look like it's connected because the outside line is thick. It's fine. This one, white. That's black. That one's black. That's black. And this is black. And now we should be back on track. Going around corners like that is where you could run into a little bit of trouble. Just concentrate a little bit. Pay a little bit of attention to how it's going to go. If you make a mistake, so what? Seriously. Oops, see, I just made a mistake. I filled that white one in. It wasn't supposed to be filled in. Nobody's really going to notice unless it's really, really blatant. Really blatant. But for the most part, nobody's really going to notice. I want to do that corner one again, see? Have to pay attention. Okay, so we've got two. I have something here that I didn't color in. Can you see that? This one. This one needs to be colored in. Missed it. Okay, maybe we should do this one just to finish off this corner, and then you could see more of what I'm speaking of. I know these dots on my camera. I have to clean my camera. That's going to be nice and thickly outlined. Okay, so we've got this lovely little arc here. So you know what? Ugh, I'm making it really thick on the edge. Trying to tidy up the edge. I'm going to follow that curve. These lines are going to be curved. Then I'm going to follow this line. Now this is what's going to make the thing interesting, right? Because now we have curved lines. So you don't have to follow the straight lines. Following the curved lines, or even if you have something that's straight like this, you could do curved lines. That's the fun part. Absolute fun part. All right. All right. There you have it. 3 of the pieces done. This one is still not dry, but the orange is coming in nicer. I will, the water has bled outside the lines. Don't know if I'm going to come back in and give a bit of extra color to this or not, but that's kind of what I wanted to show you guys today. Lay down a string, play with the odd stuff in the middle, and they're all going to be different. They're never going to be the same. So I hope this has inspired you to doodle something different, and I would like to thank you guys all for being here. Miss you. I will see you soon. Bye now. Thanks for watching.